All right, Assalamualaikum again. So welcome for those who already joined and just joined our online class this morning. And I think this is the first time that we meet through online after almost 3 months we didn't see each other. So maybe you can say hi to your friends and say hello, morning, and so on. Okay. I hope that you still remember my name. Okay, even though it's already three months, and basically on the normal schedule right now you're already sitting for the finish ready sitting for the final exam and you're already taking for the holiday 3 months already. Okay, all right, so okay, say 64 students. I don't want to make it this online session too long because maybe someone have a very limited internet connection that may have some problem later. All right, so maximum I want to make it almost 1 hours and 30 minutes and so on. All right. So hopefully you can hear my voice and you can see my video running online. Okay. And you know that this semester we already start our lecture and the implementation of your semester right now. Okay, starting 1 June 2020 will be 360 transform through online. So meaning that we don't have any physical interactions between lecturer and student unless for the last assessment for the final exam, UMP for the initial method, they stated using the face-to-face interaction means that maybe for the final exam, only for the final exam, you need to come to the UMP or something else that the question been set for the specific date. Okay, so we will wait for the official we call it the procedure for the final exam. But for the except for the class assessments, except for the final exam, financial submission, assessment, exercise, and so on will be through online. Right. So there is some information that I want to share with you. Okay. The first one will be the today our online discussion. I want to say like a discussion for today will be recorded. Okay. So meaning that those who can't watch the video online, okay, you may download the video that already recorded just now. Okay, and I will give you the links, meaning that whenever I do the lecture and so on, you may watch the video again until you understand the concept of the certain topics that are given in the lecture. All right, and the second part is the assessments, the attendance for the online class. Okay, will be depends on the lecturer. All right, so for my subject PCS 1203 that you are taking this semester with me, and the lab by Dr. Zaifa, right, the attendance for the class will be it's not through the physical that you come to the class normally conventional way. You come to the class and I will call your name and I will take your attendance for you. But for through online it might be totally different. So meaning that okay, whenever I'm doing an online class, those who have the internet connection, uh, I will give you the link for the Google Form link for the attendance, and there is some information that you need to key in the forms that are giving in the Google Form. Right? Those who cannot doesn't have any internet connection or have poor internet connection, they may download the video or may do the some exercises that uh, referring that you doing some activities that given in the like a physical class. For example, some simple exercise and then you come to submit to me, meaning that you have some commitment in the this subject, right? For the lab session, okay, we don't have any physical lab session anymore, but we will have an online lab session uh, That means that I will give you some exercise, lab tutorial, lab sheets that you need to submit on the within period of time. For example, tomorrow you will have a lab session by the other section and also a Friday. So I will give you one of lab sheet for both section tomorrow and then Friday, and then you need to submit maybe after 2 3 days after that, right? Okay, and this one is for the attendance for the lab session and also the class, right? I will give you the more details regarding this one attendance, especially for the attendance, because we must take your attendance because the attendance is very compulsory for you to take for the final exam, right? Okay, someone said so we don't have to meet in the Google Meet for the lab. Yes, all right. So for right now, since majority of the students, it's not only for the students but only for the lecturer as well, they have very limited internet connections. All right, so I'm afraid that if we do very frequent online session, just we do right now, you may have or we may have some difficulty limited data. At the end of the 2 weeks, your data will be ended, meaning that is already limited. So I want to reduce dependencies of our lab session and also the online session through the, we call it, this one is synchronized. Synchronized means that it's online. It's not like I give you some exercise and then you submit the exercise later. This one we don't call it as synchronized. Okay, so online meetings that we do right now, we call it as synchronized. Okay, lab exercise submit later. This one we call it as asynchronous. You submit it later, but the attendance still there. You submit the exercise, and I will mark it as attendance, and I will mark it as your lab submission. All right. So welcome for those who already joined just now. All right. So just now I mentioned regarding the important items that the students need to understand and need to aware regarding uh, the implementation of online class and also the online submission for the lab exercise together with the assessment, right? So later I will give you some short briefing through the WhatsApp and also through the Kalam email, so everyone can get the up-to-date information that I given you just now, right? Okay, and then the third one is regarding the coming assessment, quiz 2 and also the hot one, right? So quiz 2 will be given delivered tomorrow. Okay, so I will open the quiz 2. It's not like a MCQ question, ABC. It's not an MCQ question, but it's like a lab session. Okay, lab exercise, a very simple exercise that you need to submit on the same day. Okay, I will give you this question by 8 a.m. tomorrow. All right, and the last time that you submit is by 8 p.m. the same day, right? Meaning that tomorrow the same day. I will give you 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. So you will have a plenty of time to do the quiz too, right? Hopefully, since I need to consider regarding the online session, right? You may have some very limited poor connection, and then you need to go outside your house and to go for the to submit the exercise and so on, right? I think that one is already clear. If you're not clear regarding the quiz too, you may type a chat in the feature chatting here. So I will ask. I will answer the question after that. Right. The second assessment that will be deliver is the hot one. Hot one stand for the hands-on test. So hands-on test actually. So hands-on test is like a physical test. You come to the lab, right? Normally you come to the lab and then I'll give you some question and then you need to submit within that time. All right. Since the way of delivering the answer from the student for the hot one may be a little bit different, right? So right now you are doing the hot one through online, so meaning that. So by next week, Wednesday, next week, 10th of June 2020, starting from 8 a.m. All right, question will be open, and the last submission is tomorrow morning by sorry, the question will be open by 7 p.m. 10 June 2020. And then it'll be closed, submission will be closed by 7 a.m. in the next morning. Right. So you will have 12 hours in order to answer the questions. Right. So you need to use this given time, 12 hours, okay, wisely, right? The question is not 12 hours. The question is only 2 hours. So meaning that you can finish the question within 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. And then let's say I'll give you the question by 7 p.m. And then you want to do the 7 p.m. until, and then you want to submit 10 p.m. It's up to you. But it will be closed by the next morning, 7 a.m. in the next morning, right? Okay. So if you have question regarding this one, regarding the assessment of the quiz 2 and also the hot one, you may query the question in the chatting. Right, quiz 2 will be postponed in Kalam or in WhatsApp. Quiz 2 will be posted in Kalam or in WhatsApp. Supposedly it is posted in the Kalam. Is there any numbers of entry specific? Yes. So the Kalam, all right. So the Kalam already designed in the, sorry, the quiz 2 already designed in the Kalam. Okay, so you need to answer the quiz 2 in the column, all right, and then you need to submit through the column as well. Okay, so the specific time here, number of entries specific of the quiz taker. Okay, this one for one student, you only need to answer the quiz. Okay, so okay, you need to submit this quiz 2 once. Okay, you only submit this one once time only. Right, so the quiz will be posted in the Kalam. Okay, suppose the Kalam is the main platform for our online learning, but sometimes Kalam is not necessary to be accessible. Right, sometimes the server is down, so we need to have some alternative, meaning that it will be posted in the quiz. The quiz 2 will be posted in the Kalam as well, right? And I will post in the WhatsApp together with the, let's say I will give you some link that you can download without any accessing through the Kalam. And the submission maybe the main submission file will be on the Kalam as well. But in case if the Kalam is down, okay, I will have some an alternative, meaning that I will have some Google submission that you need to submit through that link, right? So you need to fill up your name, your ID, your section, and then your file regarding the quiz 2. Okay, so the quiz 2 will be the like coding part, right? For those doesn't have any laptop, all right, try to find from your sibling, borrow from your sibling and so on. If that not happening, you may write down the code in a piece of paper and submit to that link. Okay, I will take this one as the submission as well. All right, so I need to have some we call it I cannot strict only one submission, so it's very difficult for the student doesn't have or forgot to bring the laptop. They forgot to bring left the laptop in the at the UMP. There is some students forgot to bring back the laptop. Okay, right. So I think that's clear regarding this one. Okay, so okay, what is going on for today is really I will give you a briefing regarding the new topic, and I will give you a revision regarding what you already learned from the previous lesson. Okay, it's almost 3 months already, and I will before during the PKP, I always remind you that try to do some revisions, try to do some exercise regarding the topics that you already learned in the last lesson, right? So I want to share with you my slide, and hopefully it can be readable by you all. Okay, all right. So everyone can see my slide here. Okay. Okay. So this is just a summary revision regarding the topics that you already learned previously, right? So today's already 3rd June of 2020, and so what have you already learned? Okay. So the green text here are the topics that are already given to you. Okay, previously, the chapter 1 problem solving, chapter 2 introduction to programming, chapter 3 input and output, chapter 4 operator expression, and the last topic that I deliver before the PKP is a control statement. Okay, so actually I want to give you some briefing regarding the function, a little bit on the function, and I will give you some we call it the revision, the topic that you just learned previously, chapter 1 until chapter 5, right? Okay, so everyone got my slide that I reports posted in the chatting just now. uh, or I will share again the slide. Okay, so this is the link that the slide that I'm using today regarding the new topic is function, and later part of the function I will stop, and then we try to do some revision regarding chapter 1 and chapter 5. It's very important for your quiz number 2 and also the hot one, right? Okay, right. Okay, so this is the new chapter is a function. So what is function actually, and how we design a function, what is the purpose of a function is will be covered in this topic. Okay, previously you learned regarding how to design how to design input and output using a different type of variable data types, and then you do some conditions using a if else statement, switch case, what else, looping by using a for looping, while looping, and also do while looping. I will touch regarding that one later, just a little bit on that. Right. This chapter is chapter 6. Actually, is on the function. All right. So based on the definition of function, it's like we want to make it the function is more manageable for the developer. Right? Even though later you don't be the developer, but you must know regarding this one, the function, right? So the objective of this topic is the purpose of the function, why you have a function in our program. Okay, so there is purpose on it. Okay, and how to design, how to write a function. Okay, there is several uh, basic function type that you need to know, and then how to call and return function, return from function, and this one regarding the how we can pass the data a variable with the a value to a function, and then we return back the value back to the calling function and so on, right? Okay, now so why we need to have a functions. Function actually is very useful if we have a very large program. Okay, it's very large program. So the example given here, like hands-on test, meaning that even though hands-on test we don't have any function, topic will be covered. Okay, it's like maybe for example we have 100 of lines of code that you need to do some programming, and then you need to have some maintenance regarding 100 online. Okay, so in order to make it the program more manageable and maintenance much more easier, that is purpose of the function here. A very simple function that you already know is the printf function. So the printf function is the function for the displaying a message. So that's one example. And then there's that function we call it a standard library function. What is standard library function actually? So standard library function is the function that already built in the C programming languages. Okay, so that is the meaning. So standard library function is the function that already built in the C program language. So you already you haven't known that this is a standard library because you just know how to use it. Another example is the scanf function. Okay, scanf function is just like input. Okay, so it's just like an input. And then, so how do we handle program that require a certain code to be processed several times? Okay, so means that the function that we design, we can reuse again. For example, okay, you create a calculation function, okay, for addition, okay, addition two numbers. So by using the same function, you will pass two variables with two values to this function, okay, and do some calculation. At the same time, you can call back this function by entering different numbers, but you still using the same function. You don't write the new function, or you need to write a new code in order to calculate the other numbers, but you can use the same function by using different numbers, and then you can get the different output from the same function. Okay? So it would be nice if you could split the whole program into small section. Okay, section we have something like in our class we have section 1, and then section 1 split into the section 01A, 01B, and also 01C. So why we need to have this kind of section? So it means that the lecturer have some kind of a uh, manageability, means that it's very easy to handle the student instead of I handle 70 student in the lab session at the same time. Okay, so much more easier if we split the session for the lecture, uh, okay, split into three, and then I have more we call it more accessibility for each student. Okay, I can see for the student, okay, the student has some problem and so on. So there is some kind of idea regarding what is function. Okay, what is function? Okay, and this is the some kind of the diagram, example of a diagram. Uh, how the function looks like in our program. Okay, example is that we have normally we have a main function. Okay, normally we have a main function that you already know from the previous lecture, and in the main function here we will have several of user defined functions. Okay, user information, choose mediation, calculate price discount, and print output, and so on. Right, these four functions that I highlighted here, we call as a user-defined function. Just now I say regarding standard library function. Okay, standard library, I recall back what is a standard library. Standard library is the a function that already built in the C programming. Okay, for user-defined function is the functions that you are the one who created the function itself. Okay, meaning that you have the flexibility, you have the power to modify the function based on your your target. You want to do some kind of input the data. Okay, you design this function for the input for data. I think this one is clear for this one. Okay, so imagine that we have main here is like the main section, section 1, right? User information like a section 1A, choose medication is a section 1B, and so on. Okay, so I want to give you some scenario in the real world how the function look like in terms of the section in our class. Okay, right. So this is an example of it. Okay, by using the same function from the previous slide. Okay, user information, choose medication, calculate price discount, print out is are the function that designed by the programmer. Or another term, we call it as a user-defined function. Okay, remember that what is a user-defined function and also what is the standard library function. There is a differences between them actually, right? Okay, so inside the main function here, okay, you call the function user info, and the block of each function is designed outside from the main function. Means that it have its own block of process. Okay, let's say main function have the own process. Okay, so what is the block of the function itself? Okay, you may look on the main function here for the first time, and then you see the we call it this one the curly bracket, opening curly bracket, and so the closing curly bracket here. This one is belong in one block of main function, right? So for example, user info, uh, it have its own block. User info, open and close it. One block of user info. The same for the other one, choose medication, calculate price discount, and print out are the similar things, but the process is different. And maybe the output and also the input, passing variable type and so on may be different. Okay, so how we can design the functions that looks like this later on, I will give you some tutorial how to design it. Okay, very simple one. Okay, just an overview. Okay, so you already know what is a main function, and main function always been called when you run the program. You debug the program and you run the program. Okay, so the compiler for the C programming will look for the main function first. That's why, okay, if you have two main function in the same project, it cannot be run because you have two main function. The compiler doesn't know which one is the main function. But currently you have two main function, right? So the best way for the beginner just like you, okay, you may create an empty file instead of creating the project. Okay, I know that you creating a project, you will have the standard code, include stdio, integer main, and return 0 and so on will be automatically written down in the file. But some kind of you do some mistake, you creating another file, main file in the same project, and then you debug again, you get some error. All right, so later I will show you what is the best way in order to creating a file by using a new file instead of creating a project, right? Okay, so just like what I mentioned just now, there are two types of function. The first one is the built-in function, or the other name we call it a standard library function, or the other names we call it as the predefined function. So what is predefined? Meaning that predefined actually the code that already written, okay, that already built in the C programming, okay. For example, a printf is the function to display a message. For example, hello world. Okay, so in order to display a message hello world, you need to use printf function. Okay, what is scanf? Scanf is reading the input from the keyboard, right? So in order to key in a value from the user key in keyboard, you need to use a scanf, right? So these are the two very simple of built-in function that already have in the code block actually. So So it's not only the code block, it's inside the C programming software like CodeLite, PyCharm, and so on. They have the same function. Okay, the same function. The second one is the user-defined function. So what is user-defined? Okay, we know that user-defined. You are the one defining the function. You are the one that creating your own function. So the term here, programmer define their own function to carry out various individual tasks. Yeah, so various individual tasks. Remember that from the previous slide that we have a user information, we have a calculate discount, we have a print output. That's the individual tasks. We don't want to put multiple of tasks at the same function. It will be some kind of a, in terms of the maintenance, much more, it's very difficult to do. Okay, right. Okay, so user-defined function. Okay, this must be declared and must be defined. So function declaration also called as a function prototype. Okay, later what is a function declarations, and function definition, what is function definition, and the last one, how to call a function. So in order to design a function, there are three steps that you need to do. Okay, the first one is function declaration, or we call it as a function prototype. The second one is function definition. Okay, so function definition means that the process inside the function itself. Okay, what this function is purposely do. Okay, either this purpose of, for example, you want to design a function that is for calculate two numbers. So the process is inside the calculation function. Okay, so calling function is the way that we want to call a function. All right. Okay, so what will be happen if you don't have any calling function, but you have function declaration and function definition? The program can be run, but okay, the program can be run, but your program does not go to the specific function. Okay, so you need to call the function in order to do that particular process, right? So these three steps is necessary in the programming, right? So even during the assessments, so the marking, so you need to have these three steps in order to have a full marks. So you need to have you need to know how to declare a function. You need to have how to define a function. Okay, you need to know how to call a function. Okay, the other was a function definition is a function body. Okay, the function body. All right. Okay, so this is an example of the modular programming. All right. So what is modular programming actually? Just now we learned regarding the function. Function is a individual task. Okay. What is modular programming? So modular programming is the way that we design our program that having multiple of functions in the same program. Okay, let's say in the your program can calculate two numbers, and then your program can do some average, and then your program can do some you call as a comparison, which one is the greater, which one is the smallest number compared to numbers, output, and so on. Have multiple of function in the same program. So this one modular programming is that there is the we call it the definition of modular programming is that your system, your program consists of multiple of functions. Right. Okay, so here we have the main function and also the display function. So remember we have three steps. Okay, we have a function declarations. Okay, and then we have a calling functions, and also we have a function definitions. Okay, function definition. So where you need to put the function declaration? Function declarations is just like you declare a variable. For example, integer number, character name, float salary, and so on. That is the way that you need to declare. So in order to declare, you need to understand regarding uh, the type of the function itself, means that either it have the return value or not, or it have the passing value to that particular function or not. Okay, so calling function means that once we run the program, okay, for example, this program, Okay, the program will print out a message, good morning. Okay, and then the program will go to the next line, display. Since we are calling this function, and the program will go directly to this function. Okay, void display, and it will display a message, no, good afternoon. Okay, what will be happening here, right? So the program will return back to the calling function, right? So where the function is called, and then it will call to the next line here, printf function. Okay, oh, sorry. So when it said this program will print out three messages: good morning, no, good afternoon, and the last message is, oh, sorry. Okay, I hope that you understand how the process of function implemented, starting from the function declaration, calling function, and function definition. Right? So you must have these three steps. Okay, so this one is function declaration. We go for the step number one. It's a function declaration. There are two types of how we can declare a function. The first one is a global function, and the second one is a local function. Okay, so global function, what is global actually? So we know that in terms of the global, it can be accessible anywhere, but local function is a, it can be accessible in that particular place only. Right? So what is global actually? We try to look on the global function. So global function here. Okay, so we declare the function outside the main function here. You can't see declaration inside the main function, but you will see the declaration is in the outside of the global function. And basically, we put this one, global function declaration, right after the library statement here. Right. So what is the local function here? Okay, you declare the function inside the function itself. Okay, let's say this one, you declare the function subject info inside the main function. Okay, so normally for the beginner, okay, you will try to use this global function because it's very easy instead of the local function itself, right? Okay, now, so function declaration, what you need to set in the function declaration. Okay, so function declaration here, try to look carefully on the blue text color here, void and also integer, integer, character, character. Okay, we try to make you understand what is happening in the first line here. Void subject info, bracket, integer, semicolon. Okay, whenever it's declaration, don't forget to put the semicolon at the end of the statement. Void subject info. Subject info is the name of the variable that you design, that you define. Void here means that this function doesn't have any returning value from the subject info. It's only processed inside the function itself. Okay, so what is integer? So inside this bracket, actually, you are passing a variable that containing a value, or you can pass a value to this particular function. Okay, only one parameter. This one you call as a parameter. Okay, you are passing one parameter to this subject info. Okay, what is happening on the second line here? Void print info, integer, character, and character. There are three parameters that you want to pass into this function. Means that you want to process inside the function. So void here means that there is no returning a value from the print info. So all the process is inside the info and stop in the info print info function. Right? Okay. So now, so void is reflect to the data type. Okay, it must be compulsory. So if you put here void, meaning that it doesn't have any parameter returning back to the calling function. Okay, but if you have here integer, meaning that there is one parameter data type integer that you are passing back to the calling function. Later on, we're going to see there are 4 types of function prototype that you need to know how to design it. Okay, so this one function name is very compulsory, and this function name is must be uh, useful, meaning that you cannot use the same function name as the built-in function. Let's say you want to put a printf, you cannot do that because a printf is a reserved word for the built-in function. You cannot use here int bracket and so on. You cannot do like that because int is the reserved keyword for the C programming. Okay, so what is a calling function? Calling function means that you want to call that particular function actually. Okay, now, okay, so we have two functions here, user-defined function, subject info, print info, and how to call a function. Try to look on the red text function name here, subject info, inside the main function, meaning that this function is called from the main function. Remember that the programming, okay, the C programming will read line by line. Okay, it will read from the main function first, okay, and then to the next line detail for the variable declarations, okay, and then print out the message here, and then it will request a variable input from the user, and then it will go and will read for the subject info function, and then build subject is a bilangan subject. Whatever you put here, it will be passed into this bracket, meaning that function subject info will receive a value from this variable. Okay, if you put here 10, 10 will be passed to that particular function, and then it will be processed inside the subject info function. Okay, so integer I, j, character subject name, integer subject, credit subject, other declarations is we call as local declaration, local variable declarations inside the subject info. And then we have a print info. Print info here is a calling function. Okay, this statement we call it a calling function. There are 3 parameters submitted, meaning it's a pass to this function: subject, bilangan subject, subject name, and also credit subject to this particular print info. And then it will be passed to the print info. Okay, so void print info will receive 3 variable. So in this function, you need to declare again, okay, the variable that you want to receive a value from the calling function. Okay, bilangan subject, subject name, and also credit subject. Okay, so these are the steps or the process how the implementation for the calling function happens. Right. Okay, so write a program that read an integer number from user and display it on the screen. Okay, so we can try to use change the above code by writing a function display that display the integer number on the screen. Right. And the second exercise, write a program that read 2 integer number from user and display the sum on the screen. Okay, I will try to stop for a while. If you have any question regarding this one, okay, so we will try to continue again. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, so we'll continue because this video session is recorded. Okay, so meaning that you can watch the video again several times until you understand regarding the topic of function that I given to you this morning. Right? Okay, so back to the exercise just now. Okay, write a program that read an integer number from user and display it on the screen. Okay, so right now I want to share again. Okay, my code block here, right? Okay, so the question is write a program Okay, I want to copy this one, and then I want to paste here like a comment. Okay, so hopefully you know how to create a file. Okay, okay, to cut this one. Right. So how to create a new file? So you open the code block, click file, empty file, right? And then I want to write down something here, and then save this file. Okay, as okay. So rename exercise one function basic function, right? Okay. So since I already have a code here, yeah. So the question is write a program that read an integer number from user and display it on the screen. Right. Okay. So how we can extract important information inside here? So write a program that read an integer number from user and display it on the screen. Right. Okay. So probably you will use try to write a program without any function itself. Let's say, for example, integer, right? Number is a variable declaration for the integer number, right? And then printf for the message here, in order to give some message for the user, enter a number, right? Okay, semicolon, and then is the scanf function in order to read the value from the user key and keyboard, right? Okay, double quote here, percent %d, and this one percent %d is reflect to the data type that we declare for variable number, comma, okay, ampersand stand for the address for the variable number, semicolon, right? So these two lines, line number 8 and also line number 9, are the way that you want to request number from the user by using a printf and also the scanf. And then we try to design it, display by using the same function printf, right? Okay, you have entered percent %d. Okay, let's say you enter 10 here, you have entered number 10, comma, which variable? Variable, right? All right, you save the program, you compile, and make sure that you don't have any errors. Okay, 0 error, and then we can run the program. So okay, so enter a number. So when you enter a number, then run again. So you have entered number 10. So this is the traditional way. So meaning that the way that you are designing the program to display a number without any user defined function. Right. So right now, how we can design our function here, okay, that you will have your own function. Okay. Let's say the name of the function is display. Display. So the first step here, right? The first step here is function declaration. Okay, so you made here, you have a void display, right? So remember that either this display will have or will receive a value, right? So right now we will receive a value of integer value. So meaning that you put here the data type, one parameter, data type is integer, that reflects to the number that will display in this function. Okay, right? So then, so we may cut this one, right? We cut this one, and then what to call this function in display function, display, and which variable that you want to pass. Num. Okay? So in this one is calling function. At number 2. Right, step number 2. And step number 3, function definition, or we call it function body. So what is happening inside this function body? So you will have the same statement again, like this one. You may just copy and paste and remove the semicolon, and you put the variables name that belong inside this function. Let's say I want to put here n, right? And then I paste here printf you have entered number percentage comma n, right? So there is purpose here why I put n here, variable n here instead of variable num here. All right. We try to run the program, compile, make sure you don't have any error. All right. Okay. Undefined reference to display. Display. Right. So what is display? This one. Right. So you can see if you have 100 of line, it's very difficult you want to see. All right. It's very easy step that you can highlight the code just belong to the same function name. Just double click here. You will see that double click text of the end. Okay, this text does not highlight. I mean, there is some problem in there. Okay, copy and paste it here. Display again. Right, no errors. Right, run the program. Enter a number. Then, right, enter. You have entered number 10. So what is happening here, right? So the first code that I create just now without any user defined function, right? And the second code that I create just now is the way that we can design our own function. Then we have some flexibility on it. All right, meaning that you can do anything inside here, right? Okay, you can do anything inside here, display here, all right? So here, but you must be aware regarding 3 steps: function declaration, the first one, calling function, where you want to call the function, and function definition, right? Okay, so calling function here. My question here, what will be happen if you put here display num twice? Okay? Display num here twice. We'll have some errors. All right. Okay, there is no errors regarding this one. Okay, so what is happening here? You will call the function display and pass the number or from the user key in twice. Okay, let's see. We run the program. Just two message. You have entered number 10. You have entered number 10 twice because you are calling the same function again. The same function again. All right. Okay. So this one we are using the same number. Let's say I put here. I change this variable's name into passing a number instead of variables that contain a value. Let's say I put here 50. Put here 50. Okay. So we run the program again. Okay. I want to make it the formatting for the message /n for the new line. Right. Okay. For this one from starting from the line. Right. What is happening here? The first message is it will display value of 10 because we are calling the function in the line number 13 here, right? In the line number 13 here, and then we pass the value from the key in. Okay? And then for the second one, we are calling a variable, the same variable, but we are passing different value. Okay, we are passing a different value. So we are passing a value of 50 here, and then will be passed to this variable, right? And then we have a n containing the current variables here. Sorry, the current value of the variables, right? So this is the basic way on how to design a function, right? The basic way how to design a function. Okay. right? So if you have any question, you can ask me during the okay. Okay, doctor, why use n and not num? It's very good question, right? So that is purpose I'm using n and also num here. Remember that from the previous slide I mentioned regarding the global and also the local, and also back to the my lecture during the March of February and so on. There is a local variable declaration and global declaration. Try to remember that if we declare a variable that inside uh, a function, okay, it only can be accessible in that particular function. Let's say imagine that you put I lost my mouse in the room, okay. So this mouse, okay, my computer mouse placed in the room only. So anyone that outside the room cannot access it unless that I put this mouse, I forgot it and I drop it in outside my room. So the, the people that outside the room can access and the people that inside the room can access my mouse here, right? So back to the coding just now, right? A very good question. Okay, so why not jump just straightforward by using num and instead of by using n here. Okay, right. Remember that. So integer num here is the variable that we declare, and then it's only accessible in this function. Okay, you can put here x, you can put here x, all right? But you must make sure that this is a variable that declare as a local variable. Okay, local variable. So here, what is happening here? Okay, let's say I'm explaining to you from line 14. We are calling the display function that will be passed value of 50 to the display function. All right. So 50 will be passed to the function display. So meaning that what happening here is x will containing a value of 50. Okay, 50 will be assigned into the variable of x here. So x here is a local variable. It's only accessible in the function display. You cannot use you cannot use x variable in other function because it cannot be readable in other function. Okay, unless you declare integer x in the main function, in the main function. Okay, and then you can use the x function. It's only for the main function. Okay, even though you have the same variable name here, x in the display function and x in the main function. Okay, by right the value will be different. Let's say you put here x equal to 30, right? So x equal to 30 is only accessible in the main function, but this one is still 50 because it's only can be accessible in the display function, right? Okay, if you are confused regarding n and so the num here, right? Okay, sorry. Okay, you can use the same function, the same variable name as above here, num, and so you put here now. Okay, there is no, we call it, there is no strict regarding this one. You can use the same name, but you make sure that you know this regarding this one. Okay, you can put here x, but make sure this one is x. You cannot use num here. What will be happen if you put x and this one will be num? You will try to run the program. Okay, so we see that the error undeclared, meaning is that the num variables here is not being declared in the display function. If we want to use this one, you need to declare another variable, integer, num, that belongs to the display function only. Even though you have a num variable in the main function, but it cannot be accessible. Okay, I run the program. There is no error. We run the program, right? Doesn't have any value. So this is like a random value for it. Okay, just remove this one and just remain it as num and also num here. Right. Okay. If you guys have any question, just type down the from the chatting, and then I will try to answer the question directly. Right? Is that clear, Rajini? Okay. Okay, right. What else? Okay, back to the slide again. Right? Okay. So write a program that read two integer numbers from user and display the sum on the screen. Right? I think that you may try this exercise by your own. Right? If you have any question, and then you can WhatsApp me or email me. I will try to guide you during the lab session tomorrow. So by tomorrow and also Friday, the lab session is dedicated for you. So meaning that you can try to message me during that time. So let's say the lab session is on the 10 to 12, right? You may you may do the exercise, and then you may have some conversation between me, or you want to have a Google Meet with me during that time. Okay, I will be happy to do that. Right. Okay. So this one is an example of the answer for the exercise one, right? It maybe look like different for it. Okay. Right. For exercise two. Okay. Now, okay. So just now we do some simple program how to have your own function in the programming by using the display function, and then we pass one parameter to the calling function and so on, right? So basically there is a fourth function design that you need to know, right? So what are they? So try to look on this table. Okay, this table represent the basic function design, right? What function with no parameter, what function with parameter, function return a value but have no parameter is not void, and the last one is function that return a value and have parameter. So this one is the indicator, either this function have a passing or have a returning parameter. Okay, we try to look for the first one. Okay, void function with no parameter. Void function with no parameter is a function that have uh, only have a process inside. For example, is a very basic way is a we try to display some information. Okay, let's say you want to display just to display good morning, how are you, and so on. And this function doesn't reflect with any parameters. So means that the variable declarations process is doing inside these functions only. It's its own function. And then the second one is the void function with parameter. And this one, I already give you some example just now regarding the display. And the display function have a one parameter that you want to display in the message. Okay, this is a very good example. And the other two example here. Okay, so we want to skip this one first because okay, since we don't have any much time regarding this one. Okay, so for information, topic function will be covered within 2 weeks. All right, within 2 weeks. Right. Okay. I want to touch more a little bit on the first one here. Void function with no parameter. Right. Okay. So I want to create a new file again. File empty. Okay. Save the file first. Void. Okay. And then you type down the standard code include. Make sure you remember this one, stdio.h. Okay. Integer main. Right. Curly, open and close it, and you type down here is written 0, right? Okay, I think that you see that since a main function is a function, we call it a Boolean function. Can you see here? We have a return zero here. Return zero here means that it reflects to the this one. Okay. Okay. Either you want to put here void main, and then you must make it this one empty. So meaning that there doesn't have any parameter. We call it a parameter returning back to the calling function. Okay. So run the program. No error. Right. Okay. So I want to do some one code here. For example, void function with no parameter. This one. Okay. So void function with no parameter. Okay. Imagine that we have some uh, function to display a message. Hello world. Okay. The function we have a void function with no parameter. Can design it like a void play function, and then inside the bracket it doesn't have any parameter. Leave it empty, or you can put here void as well as here void, and here is void. So void here means it doesn't have any returning value back to the calling function. Okay. Display bracket void here means that there's no parameter we want to pass in this function. Okay, you may put it void or you want to make it empty, is up to you. Right. Okay. So and then you want to make it like want to print here like a hello world. Hello world. Okay, normally you have something like this. Okay, let's say I cut this one first. Compile and the program message. I want to make it print from display function. Yeah, this one. Okay. So here want to cut this one, right? Remember, this is the first step. Function declaration. You need to declare what kind of parameter. There is no parameter, have parameter. You need to decide. But this one, the design is no parameter. Just leave it this bracket as empty. Second step here is function calls. Okay, of calling function. So you need to type down the name of the function itself, right? Without any passing parameter, right? And the third one is function definition. Okay. So here, very easy way, copy this statement, paste it here, remove the semicolon, and then you put the open and curly bracket. I want to paste here, sorry. I want to print out hello world, right? Then I want to put here /n for the formatting message. Okay. So we run the program. Okay, you will have multiple of calling function and the program again. Soon, and you will have 4 messages hello world because it's only statics. All right, so hopefully you understand regarding this one. All right, okay, so this one is a display. So let's say you want to do some calculation. So calculation by using the this one, okay, design number 1 here, void function with no parameter, right? And then okay, let's say I want comment this one or I want delete this one. So what will be happening here? You run the program, there's nothing there. Okay, meaning that this program can be run. But what is happening inside, can you see here inside the main function, there is no function that you call. Okay, it's empty. So that's why the output is empty. Even though you already designed here the function declaration and also together with the function definition, but you didn't have a statement to call the function, the program can be run as well. Okay, right. let's say I want to have another function, the same function design. Okay, let's say I want to have here calculate number, right? And then here doesn't have any parameter because we want to have input parameter inside the calculate number itself, right? So second step here, call the function calculate number bracket semicolon without any parameter. Once we run the program, it will jump to the directly to the function. But let's say I want to compile this one. You will have some in the function prototype, but you don't have any function definition here. So what you need to do is you need to define the function void calculate num bracket. Okay, so make sure that you have the block of curly bracket here. So you can click either this one, and then you can see the highlighted blue color here. So this one is belong to the calculate number. This one is belong to the display number, and this one is belong to the main function. Right. Okay. So you want to have some process here. Process or the variable declaration. Variable declarations here. Let's say I have two variable x and also y that you want to do some calculation, right? And then you want to have another one here for the sum, right? Make sure that sum here you need to initialize as 0 because it's total of product. Okay, so sum equal to x plus y, and then you print out the output. Sum is, all right, %d. Make sure to you remember regarding what is %d, what is %s, and what is %f, right? Comma, and then sum. Okay, we run the program. Make sure it doesn't have any error, right? Okay, so you will have here sum is 10,000, right? Let me check here. All right, so okay, so we don't have any initialize for the x and y. Let's say 10, y is equal to 5. Okay, we run the program again. The output should be sum is 15. All right, so by using the first design here, the first function design, void function with no parameter, we can design our own function, and we have our own process inside it. We have some output here and so on, right? Okay, let's say you want to design the output will be some kind of its own function. You can design it. Let's say this out. Let's say you want to put it like void output, and then you want to display the output from the other function. Okay, maybe put here integer. Okay, and then you want to call that one from here. Output bracket sum will be passed to the function. Okay, this one, right? You need to design another function. Output integer sum bracket, you get output here, right? So when you said inside the calculate number here, you call another function is output, and then it will display the output from the output function. Run the program, you will have the same output here, 15, right? Okay, right. Okay, so anyone have any question regarding this one? So for right now, okay, for right now, I need to stop for a while regarding the function until void function with no parameter and void function with parameter. So you may look or read on the slide number 17 that I given in the column, right? And also in the chatting, the same slide I'm using. So you try to look at different type of a function we have here, right? So later by next week, we try to look on the next one, which is a function that return, means that this one is that there is a functioning, returning, and also there is passing value to the function. All right. Okay. So I open the question for 5 minutes before we go some kind of revision regarding the previous topic. Okay. Anyone? Okay. Okay. Just proceed. Right. Regarding the revision, I want to touch just a little bit on the chapter 1 until chapter 4. I'm not gonna touch more detail regarding the chapter control statement, right? Right. Okay. Okay. Now, so this one is just a little bit, it's 5 minutes revision regarding chapter 1 until chapter 3 actually. So I don't have any time regarding the chapter 4 and the chapter 5, right? Okay, so in chapter 1, what you already learned. So in chapter 1, you learn how to initiate the programming solution by using the problem solving technique. So if you remember regarding this topic, you learn how to design the flowchart, how to design the pseudocode and algorithm itself, and so on. And the much more important part here is how to extract the important information from the case study. Okay, just like I give you some case study, right? From the case study, what are the important information that you need to use? Okay, let's say calculate two numbers. Okay, calculate is a process. Two numbers is the input. Okay, the input, and then of course you need to have another variable that will be storing the calculation process. Let's say integer sum will be another variable to do this one, right? So this is the way that you do extract information from the case study, right? So and then next for the chapter 2 here, introduction to programming, you already learn how to use the coplog. Basically it's our main editor for the programming, C programming. Okay, and how to create a new file by using the coplog, and then uh, you run a program. Okay, you write a program of hello world by using the printf function. Okay, normally introduction to programming is mostly on like that, and you learn how to compile the program, how to debug, how you want to see the errors in the programming, and how to run the program. Okay, so in the chapter 3 regarding the input and output, and this one is very important because the chapter 2 regarding the variable declarations. Okay, there are basic three types of declarations, data types, integer, character, float, and so on. We have another several data type, but for your beginner level, okay, you only must know regarding this one. Integer is for the decimal number, all right? Like for number is a 1, 2, 3, 150, total 50, 100, and so on. Character is a string. It's combination between the numbers and also the character. Okay, let's say your metric ID, SB1023, and so on. Address, Kuantan Pahang, for example. Name, let's say Muhammad Ramli. There is a the suitable variable declaration for the particular input, right? And the next one, the third one is a float, meaning that is a floating number. Okay, titik perpuluhan. So what are the example here? Let's say price, 10 ringgit 50 cents. So it's suitable by using the float. Normally we don't use integer for the price because let's say the price is 10 ringgit, but for the price we must put it two decimal number, 0.00. So suitable data type is a float. Similar as a salary because it's a financial dot. zero zero together with the total here. Let's say the total salary and so on for five uh, employee is something like that. Right. So let's say the input and output, enter name, Zamri, welcome. Zamri is the variable that we enter in the command prompt, right? So this is another example for the input and output. Just give you some refreshing how to design input and output, right? Make sure that you know how to design the and how to choose the suitable data type for each variable's name, right? So name, of course, is a character, integer, age, float, salary, and so on. You must know regarding this one. So you must imagine what kind of the value that you will enter in the command prompt in the program. Example here, let's say Zamri is a character. 40 is a number, it's a decimal number. Salary is a 6,000. Let's say 6,000 dot 20 cent. Dot 20 cents is represent the floating number. So suitable data type is float, this one. Right? So remember that this one, the modifier. Okay, remember what is modifier? Modifier is that reflect to the variable that you declare up here. Okay, and that is reflect to the input that you enter after that. So let's say this one, enter your name. Name must be a string. You must use %s for the string, and don't forget to put the ampersand name, the variable name. Similar for the next input here for the age, you must know that %d here reflect to the modifier for data type integer, right? And the last one here, enter your salary, RM. %f here reflect to the modifier data type of the float data type salary. And then you can design your own output here based on this one. Your welcome summary, your age 40 and salary 6,000 has been recorded, right? So for information, my age is not 40. I still less than 40, right? Okay. All right. Okay. So I think that that's all for a while. And then before we end our online class today, okay, I think you have another class after this. And what you need to do is, if you have any question, just type down in the chat, and I will try to reply it. Or you can message me personally, okay, regarding the topics that I discussed just now, or anything regarding the subject assessment, the attendance, and so on, is open to all uh, discussion. And before I forgot, uh, okay, so I share to you a link for the session for today, right? So try to click the link. Okay, try to click the link, and it's not the question, it's not the exercise that we do just now. It's just like some information, initial information that I want to get. Okay, especially for the it's just necessary that we can conduct through online this one. Okay, or I need to have another option. Let's say we need to have I upload some video, maybe doing some tutorial, something like that. And I think share with you, and then you do by yourself how to solve the problem of exercise for the lab session. All right. Okay. Okay. Hopefully everyone still maintain regarding the session just now, and you understand regarding the first two basic function in the topic today. And we try to continue. Either I will try to record the video for the next two design function, and I will share to you first, and then we try to meet again later, right? And don't forget that we have a quiz 2 by tomorrow. A very simple question. You can finish that question within less than 10 minutes. It's for me lah. It's for me. For you, maybe around 30 minutes. Okay, so metric ID can only type number. Okay, sorry for this one. Let's say I want to. Okay, okay, okay. Right. Numbers. Okay. Can someone enter the information again? Already changed the into text. Hopefully can. Okay. All right. Good. Uh, so if you have some feedback regarding the online class today, just that I conduct right now, so you may give some feedback, a good feedback, so I can improve again for the later, because uh, the motto for PKP for EMP is we cannot leave the student behind. So anything student they have poor internet connection, we cannot make it like we just ignore the student. So we need to have a fair and square for all students, right? If the student get this information, video for that particular student, they have a poor connection, that I need to have some another alternative that have structured exercise and also structured notes for the student for all and so on, right? Okay. Don't forget to fill up the information in the Google form. All right, very important for me. And those who cannot reach the video today, okay, the video will be recorded and I will share in the Kalam together with the WhatsApp group. Right? Okay. Before we end, there is 3 minutes before we end our class. Any question? You can type down in the chatting. No question, right? Okay. Okay, before we end, you all boleh enablekan video tak? I want to snap all the students for attendance today. Webcam tak ada, okay. Yang mana-mana yang tak yang ada lah. Tak ada masalah pun. Okay, semua segan Mana yang Muslim perempuan tak okay dulu tu tak apalah. Tak ada masalah pun. Alright. Okay. Ni semua ni ada tak ni? Alright, okay. So if you don't have any questions, so we meet again. Okay. So we meet again for the next maybe if the feedback from the student is okay. Alright. So we meet again and I will record some video for the next session. Alright. Okay. Okay. How about attendance? So you fill up the Google form, right? That will be the attendance. For those who cannot enter the online session just now, I will try to cross check and then I will try to have the student need to have some feedback for me lah. Okay. Maybe the last exercise will be some evidence for the student do the commitment for the subject. All right. Okay. Thank you very much and see you all.